My beloved child, if you are still able to hear these words today, do not scroll past them too quickly. There are things I have gently reminded you of many times, through doors that opened and then closed, through people I placed along your path, through new dawns that came when you thought all hope had faded. But if you continue to refuse to listen and insist on following the voice of haste, pride, or fear, there may come a time when you must learn through more painful lessons, not because I desire to hurt you, but because some hearts only open after tears have fallen. I have always loved you, and that love does not change, no matter how many times you turn away from me. It is precisely because I love you that I cannot allow you to keep walking toward the edge of a cliff while believing that you are on the right road. As it is written, the Lord disciplines those he loves, as a father disciplines the child in whom he delights. Every correction I give begins in love, never in anger. Perhaps you still wonder why the things I desire for you are often different from the things you desire for yourself. You can only see today, but I see the entire road ahead. You see one door that is just closed, but I see hundreds of other doors waiting for the right moment to open. You grieve over losing something you treasure, but I know that if you keep it close, you may lose many things that are far more precious. That is why I have so often told you to stop, to wait, to pray, to forgive, and to let go. Yet you often think that I am taking your joy away. No, my child, I have never taken anything good from you. I only remove from your hands the things that will eventually wound you. Do you remember the story of the prophet Jonah? I told him to go to Nineveh and proclaim a warning, but he chose instead to board a ship sailing in the opposite direction. He believed that by going far enough, he could escape my calling. Yet the sea rose into a violent storm. The ship was tossed about, and everyone was filled with fear. It was not because I hated Jonah. That very storm brought him back to his purpose. Some storms in your life are like that as well. They are not proof that I have abandoned you. They are signs that I am still patiently searching for you. If I had left you to yourself, I would not have called you back at all. I know there are days when you pray and do not receive what you hoped for. You become disappointed and think that I am silent. But my silence is never my absence. A farmer does not dig up a seed every day just to see whether it has begun to grow. He trusts that beneath the dark soil, a quiet miracle is taking place. Your faith is the same. There are seasons when I'm working in places your eyes cannot see. If you give up too soon, you may believe that nothing is happening, while the roots of your miracle are growing deeper day by day. Many times, I send you the smallest reminders, a Bible verse you happen to read, a sermon that touches the exact pain in your heart, a stranger who says precisely what you need to hear, a door that suddenly closes, or a plan that seemed perfect but unexpectedly falls apart. You call these things coincidence, but to me, they are whispers of love. I do not like to use thunder when a gentle breeze is enough to bring you back. Only when you continually reject those whispers do you have to face greater lessons. Remember the prophet Elijah. As he waited for me to reveal myself, there was a powerful wind that tore through the mountains, an earthquake that shook the ground, and a fire that blazed before him. But I was not in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. After all of that came a gentle whisper, and it was there that Elijah recognized my presence. I often speak to you in the same way, but the world is so noisy that you only want to hear what is dramatic and overwhelming, forgetting the gentle voice of the Holy Spirit. My beloved child, there are times when I do not prevent you from stumbling. That does not mean I lack the power to keep you standing. I simply know that some lessons cannot be learned through words alone. A child truly understands that fire is hot only after touching it. Yet even when you fall, I remain beside you to lift you up. As the psalm says, even though I walk through the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Do you see? My promise is not that you will never enter a valley. My promise is that I will never allow you to walk through it alone. What grieves me most is not when you make mistakes. What causes my heart the deepest sorrow is when you believe that, after those mistakes, I no longer love you. That is the lie darkness always wants to plant in the human heart. Look at the prodigal son in the parable. When he returned home, his father did not first ask how much of the inheritance he had wasted. The father ran to embrace him before anything else. Love always runs faster than condemnation. That is how I see you today. Perhaps you are carrying wounds that no one knows about. You smile at others, but when night comes, you cry alone. You pray, yet you feel as though your words disappear into empty space. I want you to know that not a single tear you shed is forgotten. I hear every sigh. Heaven sees every time you try to rise again after failure. You are not invisible in my eyes. You never have been. If today I am preventing one of your plans from moving forward, do not be quick to become angry. Perhaps I am saving you from something you cannot yet see. There are people I remove from your life not to make you lonely, but to protect your peace. There are opportunities I do not allow because they would take away your dignity, your faith, or your family. Do not measure my love by the number of things I permit. Measure it by the number of things I quietly prevent. Things you may never even know about. Do not mistake my patience for approval of every choice you make. I am patient because I hope you will turn back before it is too late. But if you remain stubborn, then the consequences of your choices will become your teacher. I do not create every form of suffering, but I can turn even suffering into a place where you encounter me. What the enemy uses to destroy you, I can still transform into the foundation of a new life. As St. Paul wrote, all things work together for good for those who love God. That does not mean that everything is good. Some losses are still losses. Some wounds still hurt. But when you place everything in my hands, even the worst things no longer become the final chapter of your story. So today, I am not calling you through fear, but through love. Do not listen to me because you are afraid of punishment. Listen because you know that I love you more than anyone else in this world ever could. When you open your heart to me, you will realize that every warning I give is a protective fence. Every correction is the hand of a father, and every waiting season I ask of you is preparing something better than anything you have ever imagined. So before this day comes to an end, give me a few moments of stillness. Lay down your worries, the noise around you, and even the answers you have stubbornly held on to. Let your heart listen. I am still here. I am still calling your name with love. And if you take even one step back toward me, I will run to you as the father ran to embrace his lost child. You do not have to be perfect to be loved by me. You only need to be willing to open your heart, leave the rest to me, and let me walk with you day by day, step by step, until you realize that the greatest gift I want to give you is not merely an easy life, but a heart that knows how to trust and a hope that never fades. And when you truly allow your heart to become still in my presence, you will gradually realize that what I have longed for was never merely for you to overcome one difficulty, nor only for you to receive the thing you have been praying for. What I have always sought is your heart itself. I do not need from you a life so perfect that you never stumble, but I long for a soul that knows how to return after every time it loses its way. For a heart that knows how to come home is always more precious than a heart that has never failed, yet does not know how to love. You often think that I am pleased only when you are strong, but no, it is when you are at your weakest and most honest. When you dare to say, Lord, I cannot continue on my own, that the door of grace opens wider than ever before. For as it is written, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I am only saddened when you try to hide it and refuse the hand I am holding out to you. Do not let the world convince you that your worth is measured by what you possess, what you achieve, or the praise you receive. Before you accomplished anything, before you proved yourself to anyone, I already called you my beloved. When my only son came into the world, before he had even begun his public ministry, a voice from heaven declared, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Love always comes before achievement. Grace always comes before merit. I look at you through those same eyes. You do not need to keep running to earn my love, because the love you are trying to find has already been given to you long ago. There are days when you feel left behind as you watch others succeed, find happiness, or receive the blessings you have long hoped for. You wonder why your prayers seem to be answered so slowly. But my beloved child, you cannot see the whole field as I see it. The one who sows does not harvest everything on the same day. Some seeds sprout after only a few rains, while others must remain deep beneath the soil for a long time, growing strong roots before rising to meet the sunlight. If I allow you to wait, it is not because I have forgotten you. It is because I am preparing within you a strength great enough to carry what I am about to give you. What comes too early can sometimes become a burden, but what comes at the right time becomes a blessing. I know there are moments when you look back over the years and see only regret. You grieve over missed opportunities, wrong decisions, words left unspoken, and people who have walked away. You blame yourself and wish you could turn back time, but I am the one who enters even the memories you want to bury. I do not change the past, but I can heal its meaning. The things that once made you weep will one day become the places from which you learn to show compassion to others. The failures that once made you ashamed will become a testimony that grace can restore what seemed beyond saving. I do not waste any broken piece of your life in my hands. Even shattered fragments of clay can be gathered into a new work of beauty, greater than anything you once imagined. Remember the story of Joseph. His brothers sold him as though he were merchandise. He was falsely accused, forgotten in a prison cell, and forced to endure year after year in circumstances that seemed to hold no hope. Seen through human eyes, every part of his story appeared unjust. Yet the day came when he could say to the very people who had harmed him, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." This is also what I am quietly doing in your life. Some chapters of your story may still be filled with tears today, but I have not yet written the final line. Do not judge the whole story while I am still holding the pen. What helps you grow is not only the bright and sunny days, it is the winters of the soul that teach you how to hold on to me more closely. When every door is open, it is easy for you to forget to pray. But when darkness falls, you lift your eyes in search of light. I do not condemn you for that. I only desire that when the dawn returns, you will continue to seek me as you sought me in the night. Do not seek me only because you need a miracle. Seek me because I am your Father. That relationship is more precious than every gift I could ever give you. Do not be afraid of my delays. What you call delay is often the perfect rhythm of heaven. A sculptor does not strike the hammer quickly, merely to finish the statue sooner. He is patient with every chisel stroke because he knows that even the smallest mistake can ruin the masterpiece. In the same way, I am patient with your life. There are still rough edges I am refining. There are wounds I am healing. There is pride I am quietly breaking so that humility may bloom. There are fears I am transforming into trust. Every day that passes, even when you do not realize it, I am still working within you. Do not think that the small things you do each day are meaningless. Every time you choose forgiveness instead of resentment, every moment you remain patient instead of giving in to anger. Every act of kindness that no one notices. Every quiet prayer whispered in an empty room. Every tear you offer me in silence, I see them all. The world often praises only great achievements, but the kingdom of heaven rejoices in faithfulness in the smallest things. From those tiny seeds, a forest of faith will grow within your heart. Perhaps today you are exhausted from carrying too many responsibilities. You care for everyone else until you forget to care for yourself. You keep trying to appear strong so that no one will worry about you. But I know there are nights when you simply want to let everything go. If that is you, hear me say this. You do not have to carry the whole world on your shoulders. Some burdens were never meant for you to bear. Give them to me. As the gentle invitation in the gospel says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is not merely a beautiful promise. It is an invitation meant especially for you. One day, you will look back and understand why I closed that door. You will give thanks for the person who left, for the plan that fell apart, and for the path that was once blocked before you. What makes you cry today may one day prove to be the very thing that saved you from a greater pain. I never take hope away from you. I simply replace hopes that are too small with something better, something your vision is not yet wide enough to recognize. My beloved child, if there is one thing I want you to remember after all these words, it is this: never mistake my silence for my absence. When clouds cover the sun, you do not conclude that the sun has disappeared. When a seed lies beneath the ground, you do not conclude that life has died. In the same way, when you cannot yet see the answer, do not conclude that I am no longer walking with you. Some of the greatest miracles are taking place in the quiet places your eyes cannot yet perceive. So from this moment on, instead of asking, "Lord, why is this happening to me?" try saying, "Lord, teach me what you want me to learn through this circumstance." When your heart turns in that direction, you will begin to see that even trials can become classrooms of grace. Each new day will no longer be a lonely battle, but a journey with me beside you. Every sunrise will no longer simply mark the passing of time, but will become a sign that my mercy has been renewed once again. As it is written in the book of Lamentations, the mercy of the Lord never ceases. His grace never runs dry. They are new every morning. Therefore, keep moving forward with a peaceful heart. Do not allow fear to control your decisions. Do not allow the past to bind your future. Do not allow the voice of the world to become louder than the voice of truth. Let love lead the way. Let faith strengthen your steps. Let hope shine light into the days that seem darkest. And above all, always remember this: whether you are standing on the mountaintop or walking through the deepest valley, whether you are smiling or quietly weeping through the night, whether you have just won or have just failed, I am still there. I do not change according to your circumstances. I do not love you more when you succeed, nor do I love you less when you stumble. My love remains as it was from the beginning, steadfast, patient, and full of mercy. As long as you keep your heart open to receive me, I will continue to lead you step by step, until the day you clearly see that everything I have allowed to happen has been woven together into a journey, drawing you closer to the light, closer to peace, and closer to my loving heart than ever before. And then a day will come when you look back upon the path you have walked, and you will no longer ask why I allowed you to pass through those dark valleys. Instead, you will realize that it was in the places where light seemed completely absent that you learned to recognize my voice more clearly than ever before. When everything around you is going well, it is easy for you to trust in your own strength. But when your hands are empty, when every plan falls apart, when the people in whom you once placed all your trust gradually walk away, That is when you discover that I have never left your side, not even for a moment. The world often teaches you that strength comes from power, money, and control. But the kingdom of heaven teaches something entirely different. The greatest strength is born when you learn to surrender. It is when you are no longer able to hold on to everything that you can truly take hold of my hand. I know there are questions you have kept in your heart for many years. Questions you have never dared to speak aloud. Perhaps you have often whispered within yourself, "If you love me, why did you not stop that painful thing from happening?" I do not blame you for asking such questions. I understand that the heart of someone in pain always longs to find meaning. But my beloved child, there are answers that cannot be fully understood while you are still standing in the middle of the storm. A person walking through the mist can see only a few steps ahead, but when the sun rises, the whole path becomes clear. Faith is not knowing everything that will happen beforehand. Faith is continuing to walk even when you cannot yet see the entire journey. Remember the story of the disciples on the sea. When the great waves rose and the fierce winds roared, they thought everything was over. They woke Jesus and cried out in fear. But the miracle was not simply that the storm appeared or disappeared. The miracle was that the one they thought was sleeping had been with them in the same boat all along. Your life is the same. There are moments when you feel as though I am silent, as though I do not hear you calling. But my presence does not depend on your emotions. Whether you can feel me or not, I am still there, still watching over you through every breath, every step, and every passing day. Do not be too afraid of having to begin again. I am the one who creates new beginnings from things that seem to have ended. I make deserts bloom. I turn water into fine wine. I fill empty nets with fish. I turn a tomb that seemed to be the final full stop into the beginning place of hope. If I can do these things, do you truly think I cannot continue writing your story? Do not let one sorrowful chapter convince you that the entire book is filled with tears. As long as I am still writing, there is always hope. There is something I want you to learn, how to distinguish between my voice and the voice of fear. Fear always urges you to hurry. My love teaches you patience. Fear tells you that you will be alone forever. I tell you that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Fear tells you that you have failed too many times to rise again. I remind you that though the righteous may fall 7 times, they will rise again. Fear looks only at your limitations, but I always look at what grace can accomplish within you. So whenever your heart is troubled, do not rush after the noise of the world. Return to the place of stillness. It is in the silence that you will more easily recognize my peaceful call. I also want you not to be too harsh with yourself. There are people who are always ready to forgive others, yet cannot forgive themselves. They carry guilt from year to year, as though continually blaming themselves could somehow change the past. But my child, if I am willing to forgive you when you sincerely return to me, why do you continue to imprison yourself in the cell of condemnation? Forgiving yourself does not mean denying your mistakes. It means accepting that my mercy is greater than your failures. Do not live as someone who has been set free yet willingly continues to wear chains. Do you know why I often lead you more slowly than you desire? It is because I do not care only about where you will arrive. I also care about who you will become along the way. If I gave you everything immediately, you might reach your goal but lose humility, gratitude, and love for others. I am building your character before I build your circumstances. For a heart that is rightly formed is always more precious than a full life that remains empty within. Every morning, when you open your eyes, it is not merely a new day. It is also proof that I have not abandoned my plan for you. The breath you have is a gift. The light you see is a gift. The loved ones who are still beside you are a gift. Even the trials you are facing can become gifts if they draw you closer to me. People often call only the things they enjoy blessings, but I know that some blessings are wrapped in waiting, in tears, and in lessons that seem too difficult to receive. Therefore, do not let gratitude appear only when everything happens according to your wishes. Give thanks, even when you do not yet fully understand my plan. The one who gives thanks in the midst of a storm will see miracles that the one who only complains will never recognize. A grateful heart will no longer look only at what it lacks, but will begin to see the countless gifts it has already received. Then peace will quietly enter your soul, like the dawn, driving away the darkness without making a sound. I also want you to learn how to become a light for others. You do not need to do great things to change the world. A word of encouragement at the right time can save a soul that is losing hope. A sincere embrace can heal a broken heart. A quiet prayer can become the strength that lifts someone you may never even know. I placed you in this world not only to receive love, but so that my love may continue to flow through you to others. A candle does not lose its light when it lights another candle. On the contrary, the room becomes brighter. And there will come a time when you realize that the most precious gift I give is not something that can be held in your hands, but a transformed heart. A person may be wealthy and still feel restless. A person may be famous and still feel lonely. A person may be successful and still feel empty. Only when I dwell within your heart can that emptiness truly be filled. For you were created to belong to me, and only in my love will your soul find its true place of rest. So do not be afraid of tomorrow. Do not let the things that have not yet happened steal the peace of today. Each day has enough grace for that day. Every trial comes with the strength I have prepared for you to overcome it. And every step you take, whether slow or fast, as long as it is moving toward the light, I'm pleased to walk beside you. Continue to trust, continue to love, and continue to hope. When you are weary, lean on me. When you lose your way, call upon me. When your heart grows weak, remember that my arm has never become too short to lift you up. Finally, I want you to engrave this deeply within your soul. You are not a mistake in this life, nor are you a name that appeared by chance in this vast world. You were known, loved, and called by name before you ever cried your first cry at birth. Every day you live carries a meaning that you may not yet fully understand today. So continue walking in the light, even if only one small step at a time. Continue to keep a kind heart, even when the world feels cold. Continue to sow hope, even when you yourself are in need of encouragement. And in every circumstance, always remember that my love did not begin when you became worthy, nor will it end when you are weak. That love still quietly covers you as the sky embraces the earth, as light patiently waits for dawn after a long night. And it will continue to walk with you until the day you fully understand that every word I have spoken, every lesson I have taught, and everything I have allowed to happen has flowed from an eternal love that never changes. And there will come a day when, in quiet reflection upon the path you have walked, you will realize that what kept you standing was never your own strength. There were times when you believed you had endured through willpower, experience, or your own wisdom. But if I were to withdraw my protecting hand for even a moment, you would understand how fragile you truly are. This is not meant to make you afraid, but to teach you humility. Those who know they need me will never feel ashamed to pray. Those who understand their own limitations will no longer see dependence on me as weakness, but as the place where true strength is born. Therefore, when you awaken each morning, the most precious thing you can do is not to immediately think of the tasks waiting before you, but to open your heart and say to me, "Please lead me through this day." Even such a simple prayer is enough to turn an ordinary day into a journey of grace. I know that this world teaches you that you must always be faster, stronger, more capable, and more outstanding than others. It makes you afraid of being left behind, afraid of not being good enough, afraid of not being recognized. Yet, my beloved child, the kingdom of heaven has never operated by such measures. In my eyes, the one who remains faithful in silence is more precious than the one who is praised by the world, yet loses all sincerity. A heart that bows down to serve shines more brightly than a life spent seeking applause. When my only begotten Son knelt down to wash the feet of his disciples, he left behind an image that the world finds difficult to understand. The highest chose to serve. The most powerful chose to love through humility. If you wish to know the path that leads to peace, look to those footsteps. He did not struggle to be exalted. He gave himself so that others might live. There will be times when you ask why I do not remove from your life all those who have wounded you. You have prayed. You have wept. You have waited. Yet they remain like thorns that pierce your heart. I understand this. But remember, not every thorn exists only to cause pain. Some thorns keep your heart from falling into pride. Some difficult people teach you patience. Some misunderstandings help you learn how to forgive. If you lived only among those who always agreed with you, you would never learn to love as I love. True love is not reserved only for those who are easy to love. True love also knows how to pray for those who have caused it pain. Just as my Son prayed on the cross, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. That is not weakness. It is a strength that can only be born from a heart that belongs to God. Therefore, when you feel that you have been treated unfairly, do not allow bitterness to take root in your heart. Bitterness is like poison that you drink every day while hoping someone else will suffer the consequences. I do not want your heart to be imprisoned by what is past. Forgiveness does not mean denying your wounds. Forgiveness means placing the right to judge back into my hands and freeing your own soul from the chains of hatred. You may need time. I do not force you to forget immediately, but day by day, allow me to heal the places within you that are still bleeding. No wound is too deep for my mercy. Do not worry too much about tomorrow either. I know that may sound simple, but I understand the burdens you carry. You worry about your family, your work, your health, and the things you cannot yet control. But think about it. How many times have you spent countless nights worrying about something that, in the end, never happened as you feared it would? Fear often paints shadows far larger than reality. Faith does not deny hardship, but faith reminds you that I am greater than every hardship. Just as the birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet are fed by their heavenly Father, and just as the lilies of the field do not weave garments for themselves, yet are more beautiful than all the glory of King Solomon, how much more precious are you in my eyes? If I care for even the smallest things in creation, would I ever forget you? My beloved child, there will be times when I invite you into silence. At first, that stillness may feel uncomfortable because you have become accustomed to the sounds of the world. But it is in that silence that you will begin to hear the beating of your own heart and recognize the things that have long been hidden beneath your busyness. I am not afraid of silence. It is you who often fear facing yourself. But trust me, if you dare to sit quietly in my presence, the layers of dust within your soul will slowly settle. The questions that once troubled you may not always receive an immediate answer, but you will receive something even more precious than an answer: peace. The peace I give is not like the peace the world offers. The world knows peace only when everything is going well, but my peace remains even in the middle of the storm. Remember the disciples on the Sea of Galilee. Great waves rose. Water filled the boat, and they panicked, believing that everything had come to an end. Yet my son was sleeping peacefully. It was not because he did not care, but because he knew that the storm could never be stronger than the power of God. When he rose and said, "Be still, be quiet," the sea immediately became calm. Let those words echo in your heart today. The storm outside may not stop at once, but when I have placed my peace within your heart, you will no longer be ruled by the storm. So, from this moment on, do not only ask me to change your circumstances, ask me to transform you in the midst of those circumstances. When your heart is renewed, you will see everything through different eyes. What once felt like a burden will become an opportunity to grow. What once drove you to despair will become a testimony to my faithfulness. What once filled you with fear will become the place where you discover that I have never left your side, not even for a single step. I also want you to remember that every day you awaken is another day in which I have placed a mission within you. Do not believe that your life is too small to make a difference. A timely word of encouragement can save a soul that is losing hope. A sincere smile can warm a cold heart. A quiet act of love can become the answer to someone else's prayer. You do not need to do great things to live in a way that pleases me. You only need to remain faithful in what I place before you today. The light of a candle may be small, yet it is enough to drive away the darkness in a room. I want you to become that kind of light in this world. And if one day you feel weary again, if your faith seems to grow weak, if your feet no longer wish to continue walking, do not be ashamed of it. Return to me, as you have always been able to return. The door of my mercy does not close because of the times you have fallen. Every time you sincerely seek me, I am still there. Every time you call, I still listen. Every time you return, my arms remain open wide, for my love is not based on your perfection, but on my own faithful nature, and that nature never changes. Therefore, my child, keep walking forward in hope. Do not let a gloomy day make you forget that the sun is still shining above. Do not let one failure cause you to doubt the good plans I have prepared for you. Do not let the voice of fear drown out the gentle call of faith. I am still walking ahead of you, beside you, and I am also supporting you from behind. When you are weak, I will strengthen you. When you lose your way, I will guide you. When you fall, I will lift you up. And until the final breath of this journey, my love will never cease to pursue you, preserve you, and lead you closer to the eternal source of light, where every tear will be wiped away, every fear will disappear, and you will understand that from the very first days of your life, I have never stopped loving you. And then one day, when you look back upon the road you have traveled, you will be amazed to realize that there were so many paths you believed you had walked alone. Yet my footsteps had always been beside yours. There were times when you could not sense my presence because the pain was too great, because the noise of life was too loud, because there were too many questions within your heart. Yet my presence has never depended on your feelings. The sun still exists, even when dark clouds cover the sky. My love is the same, whether you feel it or not, whether you understand it or not. I am still quietly watching over every beat of your life, every breath you take, every night of sleep, and every tear you silently wipe away when no one else can see. My child, what pleases me is not that you have never made mistakes, but that after every fall, you still have enough humility to rise again and return to the light. Some people allow one failure to define their entire lives. Some people, after being hurt once, close their hearts to all love. But I did not create you to live as though a cracked vessel must remain useless forever. In my hands, even a broken vessel can become a testimony of mercy. The very cracks you have always tried to hide are the places through which the light of grace can enter. Do not be ashamed of what you have endured. What matters is not how many times you have fallen, but whether each fall has drawn you closer to me or led you farther away from me. Learn to see life through the eyes of hope rather than the eyes of fear. Fear always causes you to see only what you may lose. Faith helps you see what I am preparing to give. When the people of Israel stood before the Red Sea, all they could see was the vast water before them and the army pursuing them from behind. But what I saw was a path that would open through the heart of the sea. If they had trusted only their own eyes, they would have remained trapped in despair. Because they continued to walk according to my word, the impossible became reality. In the same way, some of the great seas before you today have not been placed there to stop you, but so that you may witness the power of faith. Do not allow what your eyes can see to limit what I am able to do. I know that sometimes you grow weary of waiting. You think that time is taking away your youth, your opportunities, and your dreams. But my beloved, time in my hands is never wasted. I am not only preparing blessings for you, I am also preparing you to receive those blessings. If I gave you what you asked for while your heart was still full of pride, you would lose your humility. If I gave you power while your heart had not yet learned to love, that power would wound others. If I gave you success before you learned gratitude, that success would become a trap of self-satisfaction. Therefore, seasons of waiting are not forgotten periods of time, but a furnace where your soul is refined day by day. Never underestimate the small things I am doing in your life. A word of encouragement you speak to someone in despair may change the course of their entire life. A forgiveness you offer today may end a chain of hatred that has lasted for many years. A brief prayer lifted up with a sincere heart may bring strength beyond anything you could have imagined. In the kingdom of heaven, love is not measured by the size of an action, but by the heart placed within it. The widow offered only 2 small coins, yet I saw in her a treasure greater than that of all the wealthy people around her, because she gave with complete trust. You are the same. I do not ask of you what is beyond your ability. I only desire that each day you offer me your sincere heart. Perhaps you are wondering whether the prayers you have lifted up over many years have truly been heard. I want you to know that not a single prayer born from love falls into emptiness. Some prayers I answer immediately, some I answer through waiting, and some I answer in ways completely different from what you imagined, because I see what you need more deeply than what you are asking for. A little child often asks for what they like, but a father always thinks of what is truly good for his child. If I have not yet given you what you long for today, do not be quick to believe that I have rejected you. Perhaps I am preparing an answer far greater than your original prayer. Guard your heart against bitterness. Forgiveness does not mean denying the hurt. Forgiveness also does not mean that what was wrong suddenly becomes right. Forgiveness is the decision not to allow darkness to continue ruling your soul. When you hold on to hatred, the first person imprisoned is not the one who hurt you, but you yourself. I want to set you free from those chains. Just as I have forgiven you countless times, I also invite you to learn how to forgive, not because others always deserve it, but because your heart deserves peace. There will also be days when you feel too small in such a vast world. You may wonder whether your presence truly has any meaning, but do not forget that I call every star by its name, and not one sparrow falls to the ground outside my providence. If I care for even such small things, how could I forget you? The one created in the image of love, your life is not an accident. Every ability, every experience, and every encounter can become a means through which love is spread. Do not compare your journey with that of others. A rose does not bloom at the same time as a lily, yet both make the garden more beautiful. I also want you to learn how to rest in me. The world constantly tells you that you must run faster, achieve more, and possess more in order to have value. But your soul was not created to live in constant exhaustion. There are times when the most sacred thing you need to do is simply pause. Take a deep breath. Open your heart to my presence. And remember that you do not have to carry everything alone. When you learn to rest in my love, you will find the strength to continue your journey with a more peaceful heart. If you stumble again tomorrow, do not let shame cause you to hide from me. Run to me as quickly as a child runs into the arms of their father. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I embrace you. I embrace you so that you may have the strength to keep growing. My mercy does not run dry after 1 time, 2 times, or even 7 times that you return to me. Every time you sincerely come back, I still open my arms to you as I did in the beginning. Therefore, do not let the past become the loudest voice in your life. Let my promise become a voice stronger than every accusation. And as these words draw to a close, there is only one thing I want you to hold in your heart. You are loved. Not because you always do everything right, not because you have never failed, and not because you are stronger than others. You are loved because I have chosen to love you with a steadfast and faithful love. That love does not change with the seasons, does not fade with the passing years, and does not withdraw when you are weak. Carry this truth with you into every new morning. Let it lift you when you are weary, comfort you when you are lonely, and guide you in every decision. Then, day by day, you will come to see that the most precious gift I give is not only the miracles you can see with your eyes, but a heart that knows how to love, how to trust, and how to live in peace. As that heart grows, you will understand that every path, whether smooth or difficult, has been used by me to draw you nearer to the light of hope, to the maturity of faith, and to a joy that no one can take away from you. And when your heart gradually learns to trust even in the things it does not yet understand, you will discover a peace that the world cannot give. It is not peace because every storm has ended, nor because every question has already been answered. It is peace born from the certainty that no matter how your circumstances change, I remain unchanged. Time may turn your hair gray. The changing seasons may leave their marks upon your face, and hardships may cause you to grow through many tears. But my faithfulness remains as steadfast as it was from the beginning. As Scripture says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. If I am the one who never changes, then my love for you will never be diminished by any circumstance. My beloved child, I know that there are times when you ask for a great sign so that you may believe more deeply. You long for a miracle to happen before your very eyes, for a clear answer to ring out from the heavens, and for every doubt to be erased in a single moment. But remember that faith does not grow because spectacular things appear again and again. It grows through your faithfulness in the ordinary days. Every morning when you still kneel to pray, even though you have not yet seen the result. Every evening when you still offer thanks, even though the day was not easy. Every time you choose to love, even when that love is not returned, these things are quietly building a firm foundation for your soul. A house can stand against the storm not because it was built in one day, but because every stone was placed in its proper place with perseverance. This is how I am also cultivating your faith. Perhaps you have never noticed it, but I am always sending you countless small signs each day. A flower still blooming after a heavy rain, a bird singing in the stillness of the morning, a stranger unexpectedly smiling at you when your heart feels burdened, a verse of Scripture appearing at the exact moment you need it most, a door closing so that a better path may quietly open. You often call these things coincidences, but to me, they are gentle brushstrokes on the picture I am painting for your life. I do not always speak through thunder. Most of the time, I choose to speak through gentleness, Because I do not want to force your heart, I only want you to freely recognize my love. Do not forget that every season of life has its own meaning. There is a season for sowing, a season for tending, a season for pruning, and a season for harvest. If a gardener demanded fruit immediately after planting the seed, he would never have a harvest. I am also leading you through different seasons. There are seasons when I teach you patience. There are seasons when I teach you to let go. There are seasons when I teach you forgiveness. There are seasons when I teach you to serve others quietly. And then there will come a season when I allow you to see the things you once prayed for beginning to bloom. Do not rush to skip over the seasons I have arranged for you, because every season is preparing you to enter the next one. Remember the olive tree. It does not grow as quickly as many other trees. Sometimes it takes many years before it begins to bear fruit. But once its roots run deep, it can live for hundreds of years, continuing to blossom and bear fruit through generation after generation. I do not want you merely to grow quickly through passing emotions. I want you to take deep root in truth, in faith, and in love. What I seek is not a flame that blazes brightly and quickly fades away, but a quiet lamp that continues to shine in the darkness of the night. There are people you once desperately wanted to keep, yet I allowed them to leave you. There are places where you once longed to remain, yet I opened the way for you to move on. There are dreams you once believed were everything, yet I did not allow them to come true. At that time, you could see only loss, but I could see freedom. If you keep holding on to what no longer belongs to you, your hands will no longer be free to receive what I have prepared. Therefore, do not fear the partings I allow to happen. Some goodbyes are the beginning of more beautiful encounters. My beloved child, I also want to remind you of the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean denying your pain or calling what is wrong right. Forgiveness means placing the right to judge back into my hands so that your heart may be free. When you hold on to resentment, the first person imprisoned is you. But when you place your pain in my hands, the chains around your heart begin to loosen, link by link. I know this is not easy. There are wounds that run very deep, betrayals that cause great pain, and losses that no words can fully describe. I am not asking you to forget everything in a single day. I am only inviting you to take one more step toward freedom each day. And in every one of those steps, I will be beside you to heal what your own strength cannot heal. Always preserve humility in your heart, for it is the most fertile soil in which grace can grow. Water always flows to the lowest place. My grace also often fills those souls that know how to bow low. When you recognize that every good thing you have is a gift, you will no longer become proud in success or despairing in failure. You will know how to give thanks in both circumstances. Gratitude will keep your heart tender before me and before others. There will come times when I use you to become the answer to another person's prayer. A word of encouragement from you may lift up someone who is ready to give up. One small act of generosity may change someone's entire day. Your quiet presence beside a person who is suffering can sometimes be more precious than 1,000 pieces of advice. Never look down on simple things. In my kingdom, even a cup of water given in love is remembered. A widow's coin is more precious than great offerings given with a proud heart. I also hope that you will not become so busy that you forget to live. Some people spend their entire lives chasing after the things they believe will bring them happiness, only to discover in the end that they no longer have time to look at the sky, to listen to the laughter of those they love, to feel the beauty of a quiet afternoon, or to offer me a simple word of thanks. Do not let life carry you along so quickly that you lose sight of the gifts I have placed right before your eyes. Sometimes the miracle you are searching for is not far away at all. It is already present in the ordinary things you have unknowingly overlooked each day. Therefore, from this day forward, If you are still worried about the future, remember the birds in the sky that I once spoke of. They neither sow nor reap nor store away in barns. Yet your heavenly Father feeds them every day. You are far more precious than many sparrows. If I care for every flower of the field, which blooms only for a short time and then fades, will I not care for you, whom I created in the image of love? Do not allow tomorrow's worries to steal the joy I desire to give you today. Finally, before you continue your journey, I want you to carry one thing with you. Keep the flame of love in your heart burning brightly. The world may disappoint you many times. You may encounter people who do not understand you, events that cause you pain, and roads that make you weary. But do not let anything turn your heart cold. Continue to love as I have loved you. Continue to hope when others despair. Continue to sow peace in places filled with conflict. Continue to believe that light is always stronger than darkness. And whenever you feel that you no longer have the strength to go on, simply lift your eyes and call upon me. I will take hold of your hand again, just as I have done so many times before. For my promise has never changed. I will not abandon you, and I will never leave you. Wherever you may be on this journey, my love goes before you to guide you, walks beside you to sustain you, and follows behind you to protect you, until the day you enter into perfect rest in the peace and eternal light of love that never fades. And when you gradually understand that my love has never left you, not even for a single moment, you will begin to see every event in your life through a different light. What you once called a loss may become an invitation to step into something greater. What you once saw as a delay may become the time in which I was quietly preparing your heart to become wide enough to receive the blessing. You often see only what is happening before your eyes, but I see the harvests waiting beyond the horizon. Therefore, do not be too quick to grieve when you have not yet seen the result today. The one who sows does not weep because the field still looks empty. He knows that the seed needs time to take root. It needs the rain and even the scorching days before it can bloom. Your faith is the same. I am not only creating good things around you, before all else, I am creating a new person within you. I know there are nights when you lie awake because you feel that you no longer have the strength to continue. You look at one challenge after another and wonder when this journey will become easier. But my beloved child, I never promised that you would not encounter difficult roads. What I promised is that I would never allow you to walk through them alone. When my people crossed the Red Sea, the waters did not simply disappear before they stepped forward in faith. When they marched around Jericho, the walls did not fall on the first lap. When David faced Goliath, the giant still stood there until the stone was released. Often, a miracle does not appear before your first step. It comes when you dare to walk in trust. Therefore, if today you still have to walk through things you do not understand, keep walking. I am ahead of you. Remember that patience is not sitting still in despair. The patience I want to teach you is a living hope. It is when you continue to sow, even though you have not yet seen the harvest. It is when you continue to love, even though your love has not been returned. It is when you continue to pray, even though you have not yet received an answer. It is when you continue to do what is right, even when no one sees. It is in these quiet things that faith grows. It is in the days that seem ordinary that I am building the foundation for the extraordinary things you will one day recognize. Perhaps you still carry within your heart a question you have never dared to speak aloud. Lord, are you truly pleased when you look at me? My child, if I stopped loving you simply because you made mistakes, then my love would no longer be love. If I left you simply because you were weak, then I would no longer be the good shepherd. Remember the lost sheep. The shepherd left the 99 in the pasture to seek the one that had gone astray. It was not because the 99 were not precious, but because love does not measure worth by numbers. Every person has infinite value in my eyes. When you lose your way, the first thing I think of is not disappointment, but how to bring you home in peace. Therefore, do not let guilt cause you to run away from me. The one who sows despair always wants you to believe that you have gone too far to be forgiven. But my mercy is always greater than your past. There is no darkness so deep that my light cannot pierce through it. There is no valley so deep that my hand cannot reach it. When St. Peter denied his teacher 3 times, he thought that all hope had ended. Yet after the resurrection, what my son asked him was not, "Why did you betray me?" but, "Do you love me?" Love opens the door to the future. Condemnation only keeps you trapped in the past. I always choose to open a future for you. Do not forget to care for your soul amid the busyness of life. You may spend many hours building a career and many years nurturing your plans. But if your soul becomes dry, you will feel empty even after achieving what you once desired. Just as a lamp cannot burn forever without being supplied with oil, your heart must also be nourished each day through the Word of God, through prayer, through silence, and through acts of love. Do not seek me only when you are in trouble. Seek me also in peaceful days, so that when the storm comes, the roots of your faith will already be deep enough. I rejoice when I see you give thanks. A grateful heart will always see miracles, even in the smallest things. When you give thanks for the breath you have, for the family still beside you, for the morning sunlight, for a simple meal, and for someone who still remembers you, your heart will gradually be freed from the feeling of lack. Gratitude does not change your circumstances immediately, but it changes the way you see them. And when your perspective changes, the strength to keep moving forward is born. There will also be times when I invite you to become the answer to another person's prayer. You may not realize it, but just one sincere word of encouragement from you may be what keeps someone from falling into despair. A hug, a listening ear, a shared meal, a prayer for someone who is suffering. Each of these can become a seed of the kingdom of heaven. Never underestimate small acts done with great love. My son himself praised the widow who gave only 2 small coins, because she gave with her whole heart. In my kingdom, what I first look at is not the size of the action, but the love that stands behind it. My beloved child, there is one thing I want you always to remember throughout the rest of your journey. Never let fear decide in place of faith. Fear will always tell you that you are not capable enough, wise enough, or strong enough, but I have never called the perfect. I call those who are willing to let me work through them. Moses once thought he was slow of speech. Gideon believed himself to be the least. Jeremiah said he was too young. Yet when they placed their limitations in my hands, I did things far beyond their imagination. If I could do this then, I can still do it in your life today. Therefore, when you wake tomorrow, do not begin with anxiety over what you still lack. Begin with the assurance that I am still walking with you. Step out of your door with a peaceful heart. Let every word you speak bring life. Let everything you do reflect kindness. Let every decision be illuminated by love, not haste. If you stumble, rise again. If you are weary, rest in me. If you rejoice, give thanks. And if you do not know where to go, take my hand once more. I will not promise you that every day ahead will be easy, but I promise that there will never be a day you must face without my presence. When dawn rises, I am there. When evening falls, I am still there. When your tears fall late at night and no one sees them, I am still there. When you smile because of a simple joy, I am there as well. My love does not come and go with your emotions. It is steadfast. Like my very nature, I am the one who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Therefore, keep walking with courage. Do not fear the lessons I place along your path, for every lesson is shaping you into the image I intended for you from the beginning. One day, when every mist has lifted and you look back from the heights of eternity, you will understand that not one tear was shed in vain, not one prayer was forgotten, and not one faithful step escaped my loving gaze. Then you will smile in peace, for you will see that throughout the whole journey, you were never led by chance, but always by the tender hand of a Father who never ceases to love you. Therefore, do not be quick to fear when your life still holds questions without answers. Not everything needs to be understood today. Some truths can only be recognized years later. When you stand upon a different summit and look back over the road you have traveled, then you will see that every turn that seemed meaningless was being joined together into a complete picture that only I could see from the beginning. What you call delay is often my protection. What you call loss is often deliverance. What you call an ending is often only a doorway opening onto a new chapter you never dared to dream of. For I am the one who sees what you do not yet see, knows what you do not yet know, and loves you with a love not limited by time. My beloved child, one thing I always want you to learn on this journey is to let gratitude be greater than complaint, not because your life is always easy, but because even amid what remains unfinished, there are still countless signs of grace. When you wake and can still take a fresh breath, that is a gift. When you still have the chance to say you are sorry, to embrace those you love, to look up at the sky and recognize the beauty of creation, these are all gentle reminders that I am still with you. The world often makes you focus on what you lack, but I want you to see what you have. A grateful heart will always find peace, even when circumstances have not yet changed. I know there are times when you have prayed for a long time, for a loved one, for your family, for someone dear to you, and yet nothing seems to get better. Do not lose heart. Sincere love is never in vain. Some seeds sown today will sprout in a season you may not live to see. Remember the mother who prayed without ceasing for her wayward son throughout many years. She did not see the change at once, but every prayer became a hidden stream nourishing a soul. In time, that son became one of the great witnesses of faith. You do not know whose heart your prayers will touch, or when. Therefore, do not stop loving, do not stop hoping, and do not stop praying. Some people have wounded you deeply. I do not ask you to pretend that the wound never existed. I understand your pain more than anyone, for I too watched my son be rejected, betrayed, and made to suffer. Yet, from that very cross, this prayer still rang out, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Forgiveness does not erase the truth of what happened, but it opens the door for healing to enter. If you keep holding onto your wound as though it were part of your identity, you will forget that your true identity is that you are loved. Do not let the past write the rest of your future. Let mercy write a new chapter. Do not be afraid to begin again. The world often makes you think starting over is a sign of failure. But to me, each time you courageously rise after a fall is a victory. Dawn never asks how long the night has been. It simply brings the light. I am doing the same in your life. If yesterday you made mistakes, today is still a new day. If yesterday you lost hope, today I can still sow new faith in your heart. My mercy is not confined by your calendar. Every day is an opportunity for you to take one more step toward the light. Perhaps you once thought I was present only in sacred places, during hours of prayer, or at services of worship. But my child, I am also present in the simplest things. I am in the smile a stranger gives you on the very day you are most weary. I am in the hand that lifts you up when you think you cannot go on. I am in birdsong each morning, in the gentle breeze at the close of day, in a simple family meal, in the eyes of a child, in a mother's quiet sacrifice, in a father's sweat, in a friend's words of encouragement, and in every small chance you have to choose love over selfishness. When you learn to recognize me in these ordinary things, your life will become an unceasing encounter with grace. Never think that only great deeds have value in my sight. A small candle can still drive away the darkness in a room. A gentle word can still save a soul from despair. A kind gesture can still change someone's entire day. I do not need you to be famous in order to bring light to the world. I only need you to be faithful where I have placed you. Love your family more deeply. Be more patient with those who trouble you. Be honest when no one is watching. Help whenever you can. Pray even for those who do not know they are being prayed for. It is through these small things that the kingdom of heaven grows day by day. If at times you feel your faith is too weak, do not draw away from me because of it. Faith is not a feeling of being strong at all times. Faith is the decision to keep walking even when you cannot yet see the whole road. Remember Peter. He walked upon the water while his eyes were fixed on the Lord. But he began to sink when he looked only at the waves and the storm. The storms of life will always be there. I do not promise to remove every wave, but I invite you to keep your eyes on the source of peace rather than on fear alone. When you do, you will discover that the strength which sustains you does not lie in your own abilities, but in the one who is always holding your hand. Then there will come a time when you grow old. Your hair will turn grayer. Your steps will slow, and many things that once seemed important will gradually grow small. On that day, you will no longer ask how much you earned, how famous you became, or how many people praised you. What will remain in your heart is this: how much you loved, how much you forgave, how sincerely you lived, and how you allowed my love to transform your heart. These are the treasures that never perish. As it is written, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Therefore, beginning today, store up treasures that no one can take away: kindness, humility, faith, hope, and love. My child, do not forget that everyone you meet is carrying a battle you cannot see. The person who is always smiling may be silently bearing pain. The one who appears strong may be very lonely. The person who troubles you may be carrying wounds that have never been healed. Therefore, treat everyone with compassion. When you offer understanding, you reflect the very love I have given you. This world does not lack words of judgment, but it always needs more hearts that know how to listen. And if one day you feel you no longer have the strength to pray, simply sit quietly in my presence. You do not always need beautiful words. There are sighs I understand better than 1,000 sentences. There are tears that are the most sincere prayers of all. The Holy Spirit still intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words when you no longer know what to say. Therefore, do not fear silence. Often, it is in that silence that my heart and yours come closest together. Now, as you prepare to continue on your journey, I only want you to hold fast to one certainty: you have never been alone. Whether you are passing through a spring filled with blossoms or the bitter winter of the soul, I am still with you. Whether you stand amid the cheers of victory or sit quietly in a room full of tears, I am still there. Not one of your prayers has been forgotten. Not one act of love is in vain. Not one quiet sacrifice is meaningless. I am using all these things to weave a story more beautiful than you can imagine. Therefore, keep walking in peace. Keep loving with all your heart. Keep trusting even when you cannot yet see the answer. And always remember that my hand is still holding yours. So long as you do not let go of my hand, No darkness will ever be great enough to swallow the light I placed within you from the beginning. And if you are still here now, still allowing these words to touch the deepest place in your soul, then know that this is not by chance. There are encounters I prepared long before you ever recognized them. There are moments that seem quite ordinary, yet become turning points in an entire journey. You often recognize the value of a moment only after it has passed. But I see beforehand what this moment will sow in your heart. Therefore, do not take lightly any sincere word that stirs your conscience, and do not quickly pass over those times when your heart suddenly becomes still amid all the busyness. It is in that stillness that I am patiently knocking at the door, not to force you to change overnight, but to shape you day by day into the likeness of the love I planted within you from the beginning. My beloved child, I have never desired for you a life without trials. If I removed every headwind from your path, you would never know how strong the wings of your faith can be. If I cleared every stone from the road, you would never learn how to stand firm when your feet meet rough ground. And if I answered every prayer exactly as you wished, you might come to love my gifts more than the giver himself. What I desire to give you is not merely an easy life, but a soul deep enough to still know how to praise me on cloud-filled days, steadfast enough to remain kind when treated unjustly, and humble enough to bow in gratitude when success smiles upon you. Remember Job, who lost nearly everything most precious in his life. He did not understand why suffering had come upon him, nor could he see the whole picture that I saw. At times, he could do nothing but sit among the ashes and raise questions filled with tears. But in the end, what changed him was not receiving an explanation for all suffering. It was encountering me again in my majestic and loving presence. Some of the questions in your life will be answered in the same way, not by arguments that satisfy the mind, but by a peace that fills the heart when you realize that I have been there all along. Do not let your heart grow hardened because you have been wounded. Dry ground finds it very difficult to receive the rain. A closed heart also finds it difficult to receive love. I know there are wounds that make it no longer easy for you to trust anyone. I know there are words that have left scars which still hurt even after many years. But my beloved child, if you allow pain to become your guide, it will gradually turn you into the very thing you once feared. Let my love become your healer. I do not promise to erase every memory, but I promise that I will make sure those memories no longer govern your life. There is something beautiful I quietly continue to do in the lives of those who trust in me. I transform trials into compassion. Those who have been comforted will know how to comfort others. Those who have been forgiven will find it easier to forgive. Those who have walked through the night will know how to carry a lamp for others. Therefore, do not despise what you have been through. It was not meant only for you. One day, your very story will become a source of hope for someone standing where you once stood. Then you will understand that not a single tear was shed in vain. I also want you to learn how to rest in my presence. The world always tells you that you must do more, move faster, and be better in order to be accepted. But time and again I invite you to sit beside me, as Mary did. Instead of always being busy as Martha was. Work is good, but if you lose communion with me because you are too busy, your soul will slowly wither. Set aside quiet moments for me each day, not because I need your time, but because you need my presence. In those moments, I will renew your strength like an eagle renewing its feathers, so that you may continue your journey without being worn out by the burdens of the world. Do not forget that prayer is not only the time when you ask me for something. Prayer is also when you sit quietly before me without needing to say very much. There are loves deep enough to need few words. A mother looks at her sleeping child, and her heart is still full of love, even though no conversation takes place. I look at you in the same way. There are days when you do not know how to pray. You only know how to sit silently in tears. Just remain there. The Holy Spirit still intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words. I understand even what you are not yet able to put into words. My beloved child, do not let comparison steal your joy. I did not create any two leaves exactly alike, nor did I write identical journeys for any of my children. What I give to others does not diminish what I have prepared for you. Each person has their own time, calling, and gift. When you keep looking at someone else's field, you will forget to tend the garden I entrusted to you. But if you are faithful to the portion of land that is yours, I will make it flourish and bear fruit according to my good purpose. There will be days when you feel that you have done nothing great for the kingdom of heaven. But remember that I once used 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed thousands. What I need is not your abundance, but your willingness. A small thing placed in my hands can become greater than mighty things, kept only for oneself. Do not wait until you believe you are perfect before you begin to love, serve, or share. Begin today with what you already have. I also want you to know that holiness is not found only in rare and extraordinary acts. It is often woven from countless ordinary choices made each day. Choosing to speak the truth when lying would be easier. Choosing patience when anger is rising within you. Choosing prayer instead of despair. Choosing gratitude instead of complaint. Choosing to bless instead of curse. Each of these choices is like a small stone which, day after day, builds the dwelling place of a soul that belongs to me. Do not dismiss the quiet victories that no one else sees. Heaven still rejoices over them. Perhaps there will still be times when you stumble. There will be moments when you make promises to me, only to grow weak again. There will be days when you feel unworthy of my love. But do not remain on the ground after you fall. Rise again and return to me. Remember Peter, in the dark night of fear, he denied his master 3 times. Yet after all that, I did not define him by that failure. I called him back, entrusted him with a mission, and used the very man who had once been weak to strengthen the faith of countless others. I look at you with that same hope. I see not only who you are today, but also who grace will transform you into. Therefore, from this moment on, do not walk with a heart weighed down by shame any longer. Walk with gratitude. Let every breath become a song of praise. Let every day be a new opportunity to love more than yesterday. Forgive more than yesterday, and trust more than yesterday, though there are still many unknown things ahead. You do not need to be afraid, for the one who leads you never loses the way. Though you cannot yet see the destination in full, my hand is still holding yours. And though the world may change from day to day, my covenant of love for you remains firm forever. Keep moving forward with an open heart, for every step you take in love, in truth, and in hope is bringing you closer to the fullness of life I have cherished for you since eternity. And from the very moment you begin to believe that I am present in every stage of your life, you will no longer see trials as walls blocking your path. Instead, you will recognize them as gates I am opening to lead you into a deeper dimension of faith. There are things you can understand only after you have gone through them. There are promises that become clear only after you have persevered in waiting. And there are miracles that appear only when you have learned to release the hand that tries to hold on to everything and place it into mine. My beloved child, you often ask me to change your circumstances. But sometimes the greatest miracle I perform is transforming your own heart in the midst of those circumstances. When your heart is renewed, the world around you begins to carry a different meaning. What once drove you to despair becomes the place where you recognize the power of mercy. What once filled you with fear becomes proof that I have never left you alone, not even for a single moment. Look up at the sky on the darkest nights. It is when darkness covers the heavens that the stars become visible. If the sky held only daylight, you would never behold the quiet beauty of countless stars. Your life is the same. There are forms of beauty that only souls who have walked through the night can truly recognize. Those who have never wept will struggle to understand the tears of others. Those who have never waited will struggle to understand the value of hope. Those who have never been forgiven will struggle to open their hearts to forgiveness. Therefore, do not curse the seasons of darkness in your life. I did not create darkness to frighten you, but I can use those very shadows to teach you how precious the light truly is. I know that at times you feel too small in such a vast world. You think your presence makes no difference. But my child, even a single drop of water helps make an ocean. A tiny seed can grow into a great tree where the birds of the air make their nests. Even a small lamp can illuminate an entire room. Do not measure your life by the noise the world praises. I often begin great works from very small things. When I chose David, he was only an unknown shepherd. When I chose the apostles, they were ordinary fishermen. When I chose the Blessed Virgin Mary, she was simply a young woman living quietly in a small village. Yet, through people who seem so ordinary, the plan of salvation was fulfilled. What I seek has never been fame. What I seek is a heart that knows how to say, yes. Do not be afraid if you cannot see the whole road ahead. The lamp in a traveler's hand does not light up the entire journey, but it is always enough to illuminate the next step. That is often how I lead you. If I showed you the entire journey from the beginning, you might become afraid of the trials waiting ahead. Because I love you, I illuminate only one step at a time, so that each day you may learn another lesson in trust. Just as the people of Israel in the wilderness received only enough manna for each day, I also want you to learn to live by faith one day at a time, rather than by trying to control everything. For when you try to hold on to all things, your heart will be filled with anxiety. But when you place everything in my hands, your heart will find peace. Perhaps the hardest thing for you is not suffering itself, but accepting that some questions will not have immediate answers. You want to know why good people still face adversity, why prayer sometimes seems to stretch on in silence, and why the things you long for have not yet come to pass. I do not condemn these questions. Even the Psalms often rise with cries of deep longing. Yet, amid all those questions, there is always a confession: I will trust in you. Faith is not understanding everything. Faith is still choosing to walk with me, even when you do not understand it all. It is there that your love for me becomes mature. My beloved child, I also want you to learn how to rest. Not the rest of laziness, but the rest that comes from trust. Some people labor not because they have too much work, but because deep within them they believe that if they stop, everything will fall apart. But remember this: while you sleep, the earth continues to turn. The sun still rises. The wind still blows. The crops still grow. I am still governing the universe without needing your worry. Therefore, give me the things that are beyond your strength. You need only remain faithful to the part I have entrusted to you. As for the rest, allow me to complete it in my own way. Do not let your heart become dry because of repeated disappointments. Keep it tender before love. Hard ground finds it difficult to receive seed, but ground that has been plowed, though it has passed through much pain, can bear abundant fruit. If today I am plowing the soil of your soul, do not think that I want to destroy you. A farmer plows the land not to lose the field, but to prepare it for a new harvest. I am preparing you in the same way. What I am doing today may be difficult for you to understand, but one day you will give thanks because you did not give up. Keep your heart open to hope. Hope is not believing that everything will happen exactly as you desire. Hope is knowing that whatever happens, I am still holding your life in my hands. That is why St. Paul could write with joy from prison, and St. Silas could still sing while bound in chains. Their circumstances did not determine their peace. The presence of God was the source of that peace. I also want to give you a peace that circumstances cannot steal away. There will be people who enter your life only for a brief season. Some will remain for a long time. Some will leave quickly. Do not resent every farewell. Some people are sent to teach you a lesson, not to walk with you throughout the entire journey. Be grateful for the goodness they once brought into your life, and learn to release them in peace when the time has come. Only I am the one who will never leave you. Everything else may change, but my promise remains. I will never leave you nor forsake you. My beloved child, when you love others, do not expect every act of love to be returned in the way you desire. Love as the sun shines upon both the righteous and the unrighteous. Love as the rain falls upon both fertile fields and dry ground. I know this is not easy, but when you love without demanding a reward, your heart becomes more like mine. Do not let the ingratitude of others take away your kindness. Do not let a few betrayals cause you to close your heart to souls who are still in need of love. And when there are times when you feel you have nothing left to offer me, remember that what I desire most is not your successes or victories. What I desire is you. A sincere heart is more precious than every offering. A prayer that rises from the depths of the soul is more beautiful than eloquent words spoken only from the lips. I know you completely before you speak. I understand the sighs you cannot put into words. Therefore, do not be afraid to come to me in simplicity. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I embrace you. I embrace you so that, day by day, I may transform you. So, as the story of today comes to a close, there is only one thing I want you to hold in your heart. Do not let any event make you doubt, my love. When joy comes, give thanks. When trials come, trust. When success comes, remain humble. When failure comes, rise again. When you do not know where to go, take hold of my hand. And when you no longer have enough words to pray, simply remaining in my presence is enough. For true love does not always need many words. It only needs a heart willing to remain. I will do the rest. I will continue to lead you, step by step and day by day, until everything I have promised is fulfilled. And you come to realize that throughout your entire life, the greatest miracle was not the wonders I performed, but the fact that I never let go of your hand, not even once. That is why, my child, do not allow your heart to become burdened by things that have not yet happened. I have seen how often you lose the peace of today simply because you worry about tomorrow. You create dark possibilities in your mind, then allow your heart to become imprisoned by fears created by those very thoughts. But, my child, how many things you once feared have truly happened exactly as you imagined? Most of your fears never became reality. And when real trials did come, I always gave you the strength to overcome them. Therefore, do not exhaust yourself over the shadows of tomorrow. Live today fully, where I am present with you. As the gospel reminds you, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. This is not an invitation to give up, but an invitation to trust. When you place tomorrow in my hands, you will have enough peace to live the present fully. There will also be times when I lead you along paths you would never have chosen. You will ask why I did not take you somewhere easier, why I allowed you to walk through valleys filled with mist instead of fields flooded with sunlight. But remember this, a shepherd does not lead his flock only to green pastures. He also knows when to take them through narrow paths to keep them from cliffs and wild beasts. There are turns you believe are signs that you have lost your way. but they are actually the shortest path to the place I have prepared for you. If I simply granted every desire of your heart, I would no longer be a loving father. I would merely be one who always says yes. True love does not always say, "Go ahead." Often, it knows how to say, "Not yet," or "Do not go that way." My child, my beloved child, learn to recognize the small miracles taking place around you. Not every miracle causes the sea to part or the sky to change color. Many miracles come quietly. It is a miracle when your heart can still be moved by another person's pain in a world growing increasingly indifferent. It is a miracle when you still have the courage to hope after many disappointments. It is a miracle when you still desire to pray, even though you have not yet seen an answer. It is a miracle when you choose gentle words, even when you could easily respond in anger. These things may seem small, but in my eyes, they are evidence that the light is still growing within you each day. Do not let the voices of the world make you forget the voice of conscience that I have placed within your heart. At times, the majority may tell you that honesty is a disadvantage. Forgiveness is weakness. Humility is inferiority. And love is foolishness. But do not forget that truth has never been determined by the majority. Many people may walk together on a broad road, but that does not make the road right. Have the courage to live according to what is good, even when you are the only one choosing it. A lamp does not need the whole world to shine before it can drive away the darkness around it. As long as you keep that flame burning in your heart, I will use that small light to guide others. I also want you to learn patience with yourself. There are times when you are harsher toward yourself than I am toward you. You see only your flaws, your failures, and the things you have not yet achieved, forgetting how far I have already brought you. Do not look only at the distance still ahead and forget the road I have already walked with you. There are things that once caused you to collapse, but today you can face them calmly. There are pains that once drove you to despair, but today they have become a source of compassion for others. These are signs of growth that you often fail to recognize. I am working within you every day, quietly, like water smoothing a stone over the years. And if one day you feel that you no longer have the strength to love, remember that you do not need to love by your own strength. Let my love flow through you. A river does not create its own water. It simply allows the water to flow through it. You are the same. When you remain in my love, you will be able to love even those who are most difficult to love. Forgive what seems impossible to forgive, and continue hoping when everyone around you has given up. Not because you are stronger than they are, but because the source of your strength does not come from yourself. My child, there is one thing I have always wanted you to remember when you stand before others. Do not rush to draw conclusions about someone's life from only a moment you happen to see. Some people may be smiling today, yet quietly weep when night comes. Some may seem quick-tempered only because they carry within them a pain that has never been heard. Some may disappoint you not because they wish to hurt you, but because they themselves are living with wounds that have never been healed. When you learn to see others with compassion, you will judge less and learn to love as I have always loved you. Look to the sky each morning, and you will see that dawn never arrives in haste. The light always spreads little by little. Faith grows in the same way. Do not be discouraged if today you have not yet become the person you long to be. Do not lose heart if you are still struggling with old weaknesses. As long as each day you take one small step closer to the light, I am pleased. A tiny mustard seed can still grow into a tree where the birds of the air come to nest. I do not despise small beginnings, because I know that what I plant in love will grow in its appointed season. And please, do not forget to make time to listen. There are far too many people in this world who want to speak, yet far too few who truly know how to listen. Listen to your loved ones before they are forced to cry out for help. Listen to the lonely before they fall into despair. Listen to the unspoken tears of weary souls. But above all, give me moments of stillness so that I may speak to you, not through thunderous sounds, but through a deep peace in the depths of your heart. Many of the answers you seek are not found in the noise of this world, but in the quietness that comes when you open your heart before me. Then one day, when your journey on earth slowly draws to a close, what remains will not be what you gathered for yourself, but what you gave away in love. People may forget your name, your achievements, and the things you once possessed, but no act of love done with a sincere heart will ever be forgotten before me. Every time you lift up someone who has fallen, every time you speak a word that brings hope, every time you choose truth instead of deceit, every time you quietly do good without seeking to be noticed, you add another ray of light to this world, and that light will continue to spread far beyond what you are able to see. Therefore, continue walking with a humble heart filled with hope. Do not let failures make you forget mercy. Do not let success make you forget gratitude. Do not let wounds cause you to close your heart. And do not let the praises of the world make you forget that every good thing is a gift of grace. Live each day as a new opportunity to love a little more. Forgive a little more. Trust a little more. And become more like the love I planted within you from the beginning. When you live this way, even though the world outside may still be filled with storms, there will remain within you a place of peace that no circumstance can take away. Because I will always be there with you today, tomorrow, and forever. And from the very place where you stand today, I want you to lift your head once more. Do not look at your life only through the things you have lost. And do not allow the failures of the past to become a colored lens that keeps you from seeing the good things I am still quietly doing. People are often quick to remember one rejection and forget hundreds of times they were supported. You may remember one storm, yet forget the countless dawns I have given you. You may remember one hurtful word, yet forget the arms that once held you when your heart was weak. Therefore, I invite you to learn to see life through the eyes of gratitude, not because everything is perfect, but because even in the midst of all that is imperfect, my love never stops working. My beloved child, perhaps what tires you most is not your work, nor the challenges around you, but the silent battles taking place within your mind. There are days when you smile at everyone else, yet cannot smile at yourself. There are nights when your body is resting, but your soul continues to carry anxiety without end. Thoughts follow one another like tireless waves, making you feel as though you may never find peace again. But I want you to remember that peace does not begin when every negative thought disappears. Peace begins when you choose to place those thoughts into my hands. Just as a child no longer has to carry a suitcase too heavy once a father reaches out and takes it, you too do not need to keep carrying alone what has become too much for you. I am not asking you to pretend to be strong. I am simply inviting you to trust that my strength is enough to carry what you no longer have the strength to hold. I have always patiently waited for every word you speak to me, even if it is only a very short prayer. Father, help me. Do not think that a prayer has value only when it is spoken with beautiful words. Some of the most beautiful prayers are offered through tears. Some of the most sincere prayers are nothing more than a sigh in the middle of the night. I understand what your lips have not yet been able to say. I know the pain you have not yet been able to name. Just as a shepherd recognizes the cry of each sheep among a crowded flock, I also recognize the cry of your heart among the countless voices of this world. Remember King David. There were days when he praised me with his harp and radiant songs of worship. Yet there were also days when he cried out from the depths of suffering, Lord, why do you stand so far away? I did not reject that prayer. I did not rebuke him for his moments of weakness. It was his honesty that drew him nearer to me. You are the same. Do not be afraid to bring even your wounds before me. I do not love you because you are always strong. I love you because you are my child. There is one thing I do not want you ever to forget. The enemy often tries to make you believe that you are nothing more than the sum of the mistakes you have made. It will whisper that you are not good enough, not holy enough, not worthy enough to be loved. But that is not my voice. I have never called you by the name of your sin. I have always called you by the name of hope. When people brought before Jesus the woman who had been caught in sin, everyone held a stone in their hand. But he saw in her not only a past filled with mistakes, but also a future that could be made new. After everyone had gone away, he simply said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on do not sin again." That is also how I treat you. I do not excuse what is wrong, but I always open a path for you to return. My beloved child, do not be afraid to live differently from the crowd when doing so helps you live closer to me. The world may praise competition, but I teach you to serve. The world may see retaliation as strength, but I teach you to forgive. The world may chase after things that quickly fade away, but I teach you to seek treasures that never perish. You may be misunderstood. Some may mock you when they see you choose integrity instead of the easier road. But remember that every seed must lie hidden beneath the soil before it becomes a great tree. Do not fear the quiet days. It is in that hiddenness that I am nurturing the things that will endure. I also hope that you will not lose your ability to be amazed by small things. A cool breeze in the heat of midday, a meal shared with family, the laughter of a child, a friend asking about you at just the right time, a passage of scripture that touches your heart. These are all signs that I am still caring for you every day. You often wait for great miracles and unknowingly pass by thousands of small ones. Yet it is these simple things that are weaving your life together with threads of mercy. There are times when I do not remove the cross from you, but I place my shoulder beneath its weight with you. That is what you must remember whenever you feel that you no longer have the strength to continue. Jesus did not only teach you the way of love through words. He walked that path through his own life. He knows what it means to be misunderstood, betrayed, lonely, rejected, and wounded. Therefore, when you weep, I do not look at you from a place unfamiliar with pain. I look at you with the heart of the one who bore suffering out of love. As the letter to the Hebrews reminds you, we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. You never suffer alone. Do not forget to make time to listen to others. There are souls in despair simply because no one has truly listened to them for too long. You do not always need to have the perfect answer. Often, a loving presence is more precious than every piece of advice. I have placed you in this world to reflect a part of my kindness. Each time you choose to listen instead of judge, to support instead of turn away, to encourage instead of discourage, you allow my light to shine through your very life. Then there will come a time when you understand that the beauty of a person's life is not measured by how much they have accumulated, but by how much they have given. The things you keep only for yourself will eventually pass away, but the love you give, the mercy you show to others, and the faithfulness you keep toward me will remain. No act of love is ever forgotten before me. Every good seed you sow will one day bear fruit, perhaps in ways you never expected. Therefore, when the dawn of a new day comes, do not begin with fear over things that have not yet happened. Begin with thanksgiving because I have given you another opportunity to love, to make things right, to forgive, to grow, and to draw one step closer to me. If you failed yesterday, grace still remains today. If you wept yesterday, hope still remains today. If you lost your way yesterday, there is still light to guide you today. And in the end, When you look back on your entire journey, I hope you will recognize one simple truth, yet one great enough to fill your whole life. There has never been a single day when I stopped walking with you. There were days when you felt my presence clearly, and there were days when all you could perceive was silence. Yet even in that silence, I was still at work. I was still protecting the things you could not see, opening doors you did not yet know about, and preparing blessings beyond anything you could imagine. Therefore, continue walking with a gentle heart, a soul that trusts, and a hope that cannot be shaken. Let every day of your life become an answer to my eternal love. For I am still waiting for you at the end of every path with arms wide open, with mercy that never runs dry, and with a love that has never changed from the beginning of creation and will never change throughout eternity. Therefore, when you wake up on a morning and your heart still feels heavy, do not quickly conclude that hope has left you. There are days when the sky is covered with gray clouds, yet the sun is still shining above them. What your eyes see is not always the whole truth. Faith is daring to believe in the light even when your eyes cannot yet see it. I am not asking you to deny your sadness, nor do I expect you to force a false smile in the midst of very real pain. I only ask that you do not let sadness become the final voice within your heart. Let hope have the final word. For hope built upon my love will never disappoint you. I know there are nights when you lie awake for a long time. The room is still dark. Everyone else has fallen asleep. Yet within your heart, hundreds of questions continue to rise one after another. You wonder where you went wrong. You wonder why the good things you have hoped for have not yet come. You wonder whether I am still listening. My child, it is precisely in moments like these that I am very near to you. Not to accuse you for your weakness, but to sit beside you as a father sits beside his child who is weary after a long day. I am not afraid of your questions. I only ask that you do not stop seeking me in the midst of them. Those who seek with a sincere heart will eventually find peace, even when they do not immediately receive every answer they long for. Remember the story of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. They walked with sorrowful faces, believing that all hope had come to an end. Yet at that very moment, the risen one came and walked beside them. Though they did not recognize him, he listened to their disappointment, patiently explained the scriptures to them, and only when he broke the bread were their eyes opened. Your life also has seasons like this. Many times, I am walking beside you, but your tears keep you from seeing me. Many times, I am quietly leading you, but fear causes you to see only the mist before you. Do not think that I have left you simply because you have not recognized me yet. There are encounters with me that become clear only when you look back on the journey you have already walked. I also want you to understand that peace is not a life without storms. Peace is my presence in the midst of those storms. When Jesus slept in the boat while the waves raged around him, the disciples thought that everything was over. But with only one word from him, the sea became calm and the wind grew still. What saved them was not the fact that the sea had never risen against them, but that the one with all power was with them in the boat. Today, the boat of your life may also be shaken by sickness, pressure, loss, or things beyond your control. But I am still there. My presence is stronger than every storm. If you keep your heart closely united with me, the day will come when you realize that what sustained you was not that your circumstances changed first, but that your heart was transformed first. My beloved child, never underestimate the power of a simple prayer. At times, you may think that your prayer is too short, too clumsy, too ordinary, but I do not listen with ears as human beings do. I look at the heart. A whisper such as, "Lord, please stay with me," when it comes from a trusting heart, is more precious than thousands of beautiful words spoken only from the lips. The tax collector in the temple simply bowed his head and said, "God, have mercy on me, a sinner." That short prayer touched the heart of God. Therefore, do not wait until you find perfect words before coming to me. Come to me exactly as you are. Perhaps you still carry within you dreams that have not yet come true. I know that you once prayed for a door to open, a relationship to be restored, a more stable job, a more peaceful family, or a miracle for a loved one who is suffering. I know every one of these desires. I have never forgotten them. But remember that sometimes what I am building within your heart is greater than what I will place into your hands. If you possess everything you desire but lose your peace, you will still feel empty. But if you have me with you, even when you have not yet received all that you long for, your heart can still be filled with joy. Therefore, seek me first, and the other things will find their proper place. Do not be afraid to become gentle in a world that often celebrates hardness. Gentleness is not weakness. Gentleness is strength guided by love. The one who could retaliate but chooses forgiveness is strong. The one who could speak harsh words but chooses kindness is mature. The one who could fight for personal advantage but still chooses to yield for the sake of peace reflects my image. Let others see me through the way you treat them, not only through the words you speak about faith. I also want to remind you that every season in life has its own value. There is a season for planting, a season for watering, a season for pruning, and a season for harvesting. Do not expect to reap when you are not yet willing to sow. Do not be saddened when I am pruning the things you love. For a gardener cuts branches not to destroy the tree, but so that it may bear more fruit. The things I remove from your life are often not punishments, but preparations. There are habits that must be released. There are relationships that need to be purified. There are ambitions that need to be laid down so that your soul may have more room for love and truth. Look at the rice fields when harvest season arrives. The stalks that are heavy with grain are the ones that bow the lowest. Those who mature in faith also learn to become humble. If one day I bless your work, give you success, or grant you influence, do not forget to bow your head in gratitude. Every good thing is a gift of grace. When you learn to give all glory back to me, I will protect your heart from pride, because pride always makes people believe that they no longer need God. I know that the world sometimes makes you feel that you must run quickly so that you will not be left behind. But my beloved child, I have never measured your worth by your speed. Some people move very quickly and still lose their way. Others walk slowly, but remain on the right path. What matters is not whether you arrive before someone else, but whether you are being faithful to the path I have entrusted to you. Do not live by comparison. Every soul has its own journey. Every seed has its own season of blooming. When you accept the rhythm I have chosen for your life, you will stop envying others and begin to rejoice in the good things I am doing in them. And if today you are still wondering whether you are truly loved, look to the cross. Do not see the cross as a symbol of failure, but as the strongest declaration that love is willing to give itself for the one it loves. There, you are reminded that your worth does not rest in what you achieve, but in the love that has been given to you. Every time you doubt yourself, remember that I have never doubted your value. Every time you want to give up, remember that I have never given up on you. Every time you think you have gone too far to return, remember that mercy always reaches farther than every mistake. Therefore, as these words begin to settle quietly in your heart, I do not want you to keep them only as beautiful phrases. Carry them into the way you live tomorrow. Let a kind word replace an angry one. Let an act of forgiveness replace a bitter memory. Let a prayer replace a night of despair. Let a sincere smile replace coldness. Every small choice like this will slowly transform your whole life. And then, day by day, you will realize that the greatest miracle I perform is not changing your outward circumstances, but quietly transforming your inner heart into a heart that knows how to love, how to trust, and how to reflect my light to those who are walking in darkness. This is the most beautiful journey I have always desired to complete with you, step by step, day by day, until you rest fully in the everlasting embrace of my love. And when you begin to understand that every day of life is a gift rather than something to be taken for granted, you will no longer wake up with the same heaviness in your soul. You will begin to recognize that every breath moving through your chest is a quiet reminder that I have not yet finished my work in you. If I still allow you to open your eyes and see the morning light, it means that there are still good things I desire to accomplish through your life. Never think that you are too late to change, too old to begin again, or too full of mistakes to be used. In my hands, no life is useless as long as that person is still willing to open their heart. Some seeds sprout very early, while some trees bloom only after many long years. But what matters is not whether it happens quickly or slowly, but that you are still growing in love and truth. My beloved child, I know that sometimes you look at others and think that they have an easier life than you do. You see their smiles, but you do not see the nights they have spent crying. You see their accomplishments, but you do not see the years they have quietly endured and persevered. You see the light, but you do not see the crosses they have carried. Therefore, do not use outward appearances to measure anyone's happiness, and do not use your present circumstances to determine your own future. Every soul has its own journey. Every person has their own lesson to learn. What I am doing in them is not the same as what I am doing in you, because I love each person with a personal, deep, and unique love. I do not create copies. I create people with their own dignity and their own distinct calling. Perhaps what you need to learn in this season is not how to run faster, but how to walk more slowly so that you can recognize me. The world is always urging you to move quickly, seize every opportunity, and constantly prove your worth. Yet many times, it is haste that causes you to miss what is most precious. Remember the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. They walked with Jesus for a long time without recognizing him. Only when they stopped, broke bread together, and opened their hearts were their eyes opened. Your life is the same. If you continue allowing your mind to be pulled in every direction by endless worries and noise, it will be very difficult for you to recognize that I am walking right beside you. I am not present only in the glorious moments of your life. I am also there in the small room where you quietly pray. I am there in your sweat when you work with faithfulness. I am there in the smile you offer to someone who is in despair. I am there in your patience when you choose silence rather than hurting someone with your words. I am there in every act of love that no one else sees. Do not think that only great things have value before me. It is often in the hidden things that love is most clearly refined. Remember the story of the prophet Elijah after his victory on Mount Carmel. It seemed that he should have been filled with strength, yet he fell into such deep discouragement that he wanted to die. I did not condemn him for his exhaustion. I did not immediately give him another mission. First, I allowed him to rest, gave him food, restored his strength, and only then continued to lead him forward. Do you see? I also care about your weariness. There are times when what you need is not to try harder, but to rest in my presence so that your heart may be restored. Do not blame yourself because you cannot carry everything. It is when you accept your limitations that you open your heart for my power to work. I also desire for you to learn the art of waiting. Waiting is not standing still in despair. Waiting is continuing to sow seeds even when you cannot yet see the harvest. It is continuing to pray even when you cannot yet see the answer. It is continuing to live with kindness even when you are not understood. It is continuing to love even when your love is not returned. This is faith taking the form of perseverance. And I promise you that such perseverance will never be in vain. As the prophet Isaiah wrote, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." That strength does not come in one sudden moment of excitement, but grows little by little through each day that you place your trust in me. There are things you are asking me for today that I also desire to give you, but I want to give you even more than what you are asking for. You pray for a door to open, but I am preparing a path for you. You pray to be delivered from difficulty, but I am shaping within you a heart mature enough not to be defeated by difficulty. You pray for peace, but I am leading you to the very source of peace. What I give is always directed towards something more lasting than what your eyes can see. Do not let small disappointments cause you to lose your great hope. There are branches of the vine that must be pruned in order to bear more fruit. Jesus himself used this image to describe the journey of those who belong to him. The things I cut away from your life are not taken because I want to remove your joy, but because I am making room for better things to grow. Sometimes you grieve because you lose something you loved. Now, many years later, you will realize that if it had remained, you would not have been able to receive the more precious thing I had prepared for you. My beloved child, learn to live one day at a time instead of trying to carry the whole future on your shoulders. No one can walk a long journey with only one step, but no one reaches the destination by constantly worrying about the distance that remains. I only ask you to be faithful to today. Love today. Forgive today. Pray today. Do good today. Tomorrow will have its own grace. But today, I have already prepared enough strength for you to live fully. I also want you to open your heart to those who are hardest to love. This does not mean that you must accept evil or tolerate injustice, but do not allow your heart to be poisoned by hatred. When Jesus prayed on the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing," he opened for humanity a path beyond the endless cycle of revenge. You cannot live this way by your own strength, but if you allow my love to remain within your heart, little by little, you will find your heart being freed from the burden of bitterness. There will be people who enter your life only for a short season. Some come to teach you a lesson. Some come so that you may learn how to give. Some come to remind you of faithfulness. Others simply pass through like the wind. Do not try to hold on to everyone. Be grateful for the good they have left behind, and place the rest in my hands. When you learn to release what has already ended, you will make room in your heart to receive the new things I am sending your way. My beloved child, if there is one thing I want you always to carry with you after hearing all these words, it is this: keep your heart soft. Do not let suffering cause you to lose compassion. Do not let failure cause you to lose hope. Do not let success cause you to lose humility. Do not let praise make you forget me. And do not let criticism make you doubt the value I have placed within you. Your worth does not rest in the changing eyes of people, but in my unchanging love. Therefore, when night falls and you close another day of life, do not count only the things you were unable to accomplish. Remember the moments when I walked beside you, when you were protected from something you never even knew about, when you received comfort at exactly the right time, when you found enough strength to overcome a trial you once thought you could never endure. Every peaceful footprint along your journey carries the mark of grace. And one day, when the picture of your life is complete, you will see what you cannot yet understand today, that from beginning to end, my love has always gone before you to prepare the way, stayed beside you to sustain you, and followed behind you to protect you, so that every step you take, whether slow or fast, may be led toward the place of peace I have prepared for those who place their full trust in my everlasting love. My child, if today you can still hear this gentle call, that in itself is grace. I do not grow weary of waiting for you. I do not lose heart when you turn away from me again and again. Just as the father in the parable kept watching the distant road each day, waiting for his child to return, I also long to see you take one more step toward me. And if you take that one step with all your heart, I will run to you with all the love of a father. I will not ask how long you have wandered. I will not count the times you have fallen. What brings me joy is that you have returned. Therefore, from this moment on, let your heart rest in the truth that you are loved, not because you are more deserving than anyone else, but because my love has always been a freely given gift. Let this truth become the foundation for every decision you make. When you know that you are loved, you will no longer need to live in search of worth in things that quickly fade away. When you know that you belong to me, you will no longer be overwhelmed by fear in the face of the world's changing tides. When you know that I am always walking beside you, you will find the courage to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead is still covered in mist. And then, day by day, you will come to realize that the words I have spoken to you from the beginning have never changed. No matter where you are, no matter what you are going through, whether you are strong or weak, joyful or sorrowful, successful or failing, I will always call you by two tender words, my beloved child. As long as you hold on to that calling in your heart, darkness will never overcome the light. Despair will never overcome hope, and fear will never be stronger than love. For my love is the beginning, the strength that sustains you, and the final destination of every journey you are walking. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that, together, we can build a strong community of faith.